Hello everyone, this is the Lord Gersh from Ire Academy. I have a daily quest to win some games as a Warlock, and to be completely frank, it hasn't been going well. So I thought we would play a couple of games here, and I would sort of iterate on the deck as I go, showing things that go right, things that go wrong, where my tactical errors are, if there are strategic issues with the deck, etc. So let's find a game and see how it goes. I'll mention this is 1-star Platinum gameplay, as you can see up here. I've opened about 20 packs of cards so far, so I have a good number of expert cards, but not an incredible number. And I don't believe there are actually any epics or legendaries in this deck.
Gul'dan versus Thrall!
So in the games I've played with the Warlock so far, I've seemed to have an easier time against Shaman than I do against, say, Mage or Rogue. And I think it's inherently because I actually rather like this hand. 2 targeted removal, that can be used as a buff plus a succubus. I'll keep it. I think it's because the Shaman is more, in general, about sort of lots of smaller minions, whereas the Hunter is perhaps more about minions that are ahead of the power curve. You know, things like Animal Companion can summon a 4/4 with Taunt for the cost of an Iron for Grizzly, which is a 3/3 with Taunt, making it ahead of the curve. So in any event, I think the Shaman, because of the balance of powers that it has, is more inline than a more specialized class like the Hunter, and because of that, perhaps this more fast-paced deck works a little bit better. Now, Drain Life, Demon Fire won't really help. I'd like to kill the thing immediately, instead of having us trade out later. So I could give my own Succubus Demon Fire, kill it, and then there's a very dangerous minion on the board, but unfortunately with only 2 health remaining. Let's do that.
As the master.
So now the thing is, though, I've invested 3 cards in the Succubus. The Succubus card itself, the card I discarded, and Demon Fire. Meaning that if he... Now, I've eliminated one of his cards with it, but frankly, I would like to eliminate more than that prior to this card being destroyed. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm really going to get that opportunity. The 2 attack of the Tauren Warrior is more than enough to finish off the Succubus.
So many possibilities.
I could bring out the Voidwalker to protect her. Alright, so let's do that. Let's bring out the Voidwalker and the Flesh-Eating Ghoul. I'm not going to attack. If he finds some other means of eliminating the Succubus, then too bad. Maybe next turn between the Voidwalker's attack and Drain Life, I can eliminate the Tauren Warrior while keeping everybody else alive. So he's giving himself Rockbiter Weapon to take out the Voidwalker, and then he'll likely trade the Tauren Warrior for the Succubus. That makes the Flesh-Eating Ghoul actually quite powerful, so I think overall this is an acceptable trade, but I've lost a lot of cards in the process. I also have not said hi. Did he give himself Wind Fury, or... No, he gave the Warrior Wind Fury. Interesting. He will attack the Ghoul, and then... He will attack me, and then the Succubus. So he spent a card to do some damage to me. So with no better options, I'm going to Life Tap and attack. I should bring out the Knife Juggler. If I summon any creature next turn, and it's also a Magnet. These are 2 very nasty cards that he has to deal with. If he takes out the Knife Juggler to the exclusion of the Flesh-Eating Ghoul, then he has a problem. And he will take out the flesh-eating with rock fire. I could attack Hellfire.
So many
Flame it? No.
possibilities.
I should attack Drain Life. And Flame in? Yes, because when the Flame Imp comes out, I want that 1 point of damage to be... Oh, but if I attack, he'll die. So it would be Flame Imp first, attack, and then Drain Life. What's Life Tap first after? Alright, so that's an interesting card. Let's do this.
Almost out of time.
Yeah, I'll do it. This is when this deck begins to get into trouble, when I haven't established a really firm advantage. And we're moving into the mid-game. I'm going to Life Tap. It's an extra Soulfire, and I'm going to attack him. If he wants to trade out for the Flame Imp, that's his business. If he wants to attack me, that's his business. See, he should have summoned the totem and then given Wind Fury to the, Well, I'm pretty sure we know what to do here. But now, we're even on life, and I don't have enough. Dread Infernal, Soulfire, Bluegill Warrior. No. Dread Infernal, Bluegill Warrior. That was a shame. I was hoping to use the Void Terror next turn, but maybe a super powerful minion isn't a good idea because of Hex. Let's think about this. 6 plus 2 is 8. If I gave the Infernal plus 2, that would be 10, and Soulfire is enough to win.
Well played.
So the question is, did I win that game through luck and good draws, or through a good deck? And I think the really only way to find out is to play again.
Gul'dan versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
Your soul shall be mine.
So this should be a very good test, right? Mage is one of the fights which this deck does not seem to do well against. I actually rather like this hand, though. So let's keep it. Start with the defense. Next turn, let's pull out the Bluegill Warrior.
You know, take candle.
And we will use that warrior to kill the Geomancer. It's a card-for-card trade, and I'm scared of wizards when they are so.
As you command.
Then I could play the Blood Imp and the Succubus this coming turn. Let's still do that because that will actually insulate the Void Walk. Well, no, because she's got the Fire Blast. If the but I can't use Mortal Coil against the Fairy Dragon.
So many possibilities.
I think it's still the play.
Do I have to?
You're in trouble now.
Now, I should have attacked.
That was a mistake.
Alright, if I lose by 1, that was what caused it. Oh, not fair. Lacking better option. So that was not a good exchange for me, right? I lost 1 card in the Blood Imp, 2 cards in the Succubus, plus the Void Walker at a cost of 1, 2 cards. So I lost 4 cards for her 2, and have done no significant damage to back it up.
So many possibilities.
I could trade, but I'd rather not. I'd rather keep my guy on the board.
So many possibilities.
But the only way to do that is to use both Drain Life and Mortal Coil against that. Well, then let's do this.
No.
Actually, I should have life tapped first.
Almost out of time.
I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I could use Demon Fire and Mortal Coil. But I'd rather just use Corruption and save the rest.
You know, take candle.
I'll take 4 from the Drake, and that's the end of him. Alright, so we're gonna bring out my own Drake, and then use Mortal Coil on this guy. Attack, Drain Life. Or would it be better to... No, I can't drain life and then bring out the Infernal. So, yeah.
You're in trouble now.
Shaman lost the Hellfire. Two Golden Arcane Intellects, which means the mage I'm playing is at least level 20. I'd almost rather play defensively, bring out my Voidwalker so that the Grizzly can't attack me. Or I could Demon Fire on the Succubus. That'd actually give her 2 health left and still be alive. I like that idea. But again, now I've invested a lot of cards into this Succubus, which means if it dies, I'm kind of in trouble. Should I Life Tap when I'm 19 to 29 against a Mage? I have 2 good cards in my hand. She's got 6 in hers.
Whoops.
Are you ready for this?
And she should have played the Archmage, and then... yeah. I lose all minions. Wow, that's frustrating. Well, I've got enough to go Infernal Warrior. Let's do that. I mean, the thing is, this guy's gonna die immediately, right? Next turn. But I really don't have much of a choice. I have to exert some pressure, and if she doesn't have a convenient way to deal with the Infernal, like a Polymorph, she's got to do something with the Archmage to kill it, and the Infernal will kill the Archmage. There goes a secret. And I'm down to 10. And that's an even trade. And now I have nothing to play, which means I have to Life Tap. And that's literally all I can do.
I'm ready. I'm not ready.
Ice Armor? That just makes the job harder. Still not gonna Life Tap. I don't have enough cards, and she's top decking as much as I am.
Well played.
Thank you.
Oh, and that's game. Alright, let's iterate on this deck a little bit together. So this is what I have for the deck. The basic theory you can see in the mana curve. I want it to be a fast-paced deck, which means when I get to turn 6 and 7, if I don't have an overwhelming advantage, things are going to end quickly and badly, right? So what do we have to support that? We got a lot of cards that are... we got 10 cards, fully a third of the deck, that are 1 mana or less. Some of them are very good aggressive cards, like Flamin. Voidwalker is all-purpose card, right? It's an improved Goldshire Footman, who I can also put Demon Fire on. But maybe that's not the right way to think of it. Let's keep going. Mortal Coil, Soulfire, Drain Life, Shadow Bolt are targeted removal, and they make up a big piece of this deck. Corruption also. Maybe that's too much targeted removal. How many cards is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 1/3 of the deck is targeted removal. I think that's too much. We had a problem at the end of the game there where I drew Corruption and had to life tap in order to find another creature. So let's take two of these cards out. Shadow Bolt and Soulfire, I think, are too powerful to keep out of the deck. Right? 4 damage is very significant. That takes care of a lot of minions. Drain Life, because it also heals me, I want to keep in the deck. Mortal Coil, because it lets me draw a card as fast-paced as this deck is, I want to keep it in there. Which leaves Corruption. But the thing with Corruption is I can use it to get rid of Ragnaros. Right? Any card that's put down I can remove with Corruption. But perhaps that's also not the way to think about it either, because if this is a fast-paced deck and I'm saving Corruption for big, powerful enemies, that's antithesis to this. So Corruption comes out. And for the record, let's first figure out what to take out of the deck before we figure out what we should be putting into it. Bluegill Warrior. I used to have Kobold Geomancers in here. And I found that changing that from the spell power to the one with charge actually helps a lot for keeping pressure on in the early game. So let's keep those guys too. The Knife Juggler is really only useful if I can bring it out early. Can bring it out early and then throw down Flame Imp and Blood Imp and all of that. I think the Knife Juggler, though, is maybe wrong for this deck, because I think that card works better when you have either units minions that summon other minions, things like Silverhand Knight, or a basic version would be something like Razorfen Hunter. So I think the Knife Juggler comes out. I think Demon Fire is good, the Bluegill Warrior is good, Succubus is good, we've already talked about this. The Flesh-Eating Ghoul, because of the number of small minions in this, I've won games because of this Flesh-Eating Ghoul. Frankly, I wish I had a second one. The Void Terror. I really need to be less hesitant about using this card. This is a card that if I hold off using it, like until I have like an Infernal and a buffed Succubus on the table, this thing can get very disgusting. But the thing is, so I think my problem with the Void Terror, this card has to stay in the deck. I think it's too good of a card to avoid, and it's golden, and it's shiny, and it's my only class-specific rare that I have for the Warlock. I think my problem with this card is a tactical problem. It's 3/3 plus whatever it combines with. If I combine it with a Bluegill Warrior, it's still a 6/4. That's still a very powerful card. 6/4 for 3 mana and the cost of 2 cards. That's on par with the Succubus, which is a 4/3 for 2 mana and a cost of 2 cards, right? Battlecry to discard a random card. The Void Terror stays. Hellfire and the Dread Infernal are area of effect. This is very useful against, well, we saw it against the Shaman. You bring out a lot of minions, Hellfire, that takes care of the problem. The Ogre Magi, why do we have this in the deck? Why do we have the Azure Drake in the deck, and why do we have the Dread Infernal in the deck? This is a fast-paced deck. Well, you need some sort of heavy hitter at the end. The Dread Infernal is easy to justify, right? 1 damage to everything else, Paladin minions, totems from Shaman, all kinds of things like that. Dread Infernal coupled with Mortal Coil, you can take out a lot of units that way. You can change the game on that card. Dread Infernal stays. The Azure Drake and the Ogre Magi, a little bit of spell power, which increases the power of Soulfire, increases the power of Shadow Bolt, and increases the power of Drain Life, Mortal Coil. All of my targeted removal it makes more powerful. The Azure Drake is really one of the few cards I have that I think it is just... It's an incredibly powerful card, right? You get to draw a card, it's a 4/4, spell damage. I like keeping that in there, but maybe there's something better for 4 mana that I could put in there too. Let's pull the Ogre Magi for out. We're looking for 5 cards to add to this deck. We want it to be more fast-paced or better able to deal with the late game. That's how we want to do it. So what do we have? Let's look at Warlock specifics first. Sacrificial Pact doesn't do it for me. I frankly don't have enough demons in this deck to make that worthwhile. We already talked about Corruption. Sense Demons, again, I don't think there's enough demons for it. How many demons do I have in this deck right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Flesh-Eating Ghoul doesn't count. 7, 8. I only have 8 demons. If I had a Felguard, or if I had another couple of demons, this would make more sense. But I don't think it does in this deck. Summoning Portal? Not on a deck that's weighted on the early game like this. I already have the Infernals, so let's go to these cards. The Leper Gnome, I think, is a strong choice. It's a card that exerts some pressure. Let's throw it in there. That's worthless, that's worthless for this deck. Well, what if I made this a combination of Murlocs and Demons? What Murlocs do I have? I don't have a whole lot. I know Warlock, Murloc decks are considered to be powerful, but I think you need more Murlocs than I have. I only have 2. They're both expert rares, but it's just 2. And the only Murlocs I've currently included in the deck are the Bluegill Warrior. So let's pass on that idea. The Abusive Sergeant might be a good option. I think it is. Let's include it. Again, it's fast. It adds to the fast pace. It's a 2/1. I think it falls into similar categories as the Leper Gnome. I don't think there's anything else in the 1-minion category that we should be particularly concerned with. So we come to the 2-minion category. Acidic Swamp Ooze, I'd rather not. Don't have a weapon. We already considered that. Loot Hoarder is a possibility. I don't think Youthful Brewmaster is a good idea because most of the... This wouldn't be saving a whole lot. Like, bringing the Flesh-Eating Ghoul back to my hand hurts it, right? Bringing the Succubus back to the hand hurts me. The Bluegill Warrior, there's no reason to ever bring it back. No, the Brewmasters stay out. I could put Wolf Riders in. 2 Wolf Riders would definitely increase the pacing of this deck. I used to have Cult Masters in it, but I never seem to have quite enough minions on the field to make it work. And these work better when you have a lot of other minions with Taunt. Or at least a few other minions with Taunt. Right now the Voidwalker is the only one in the deck that does. And the Cult Master needs to be protected because they're very easy to kill. The Spellbreaker is another card that I've been thinking about. I have 2 of them. The Silence is powerful. Gets me another creature, gets me something in the 4-mana range, something something equally as powerful as the Succubus, but with less drawbacks when you cast it. And then I think we're getting into, well, the Venture Company Mercenary is an idea. This is a very big and powerful minion. Yeah, it hurts me, but considering how low on the curve most of the deck is, let's think about that guy. I think the rest of these are just too much. Baron Geddon, maybe if I wanted some kind of, but I think between Hellfire and the Dread Infernal... No, and considering I kind of end up low on health, a lot of times, I don't think that's a good idea. So what did we consider here? We considered Wolf Riders, wherever they are. You know, I like the idea of the Venture Company Mercenary. I never thought I'd say that. In general, I don't like this card, but I think this might be the right one for this deck. Which leaves us one space left. And I'd kind of like to bring in something around 2, 3, or 4 mana. One Spellbreaker, one Ogre Magi. That doesn't quite seem right. Is there any other card I should take out? Should I take out the Flesh-Eating Ghoul in favor of something else? No, as I said, I'd really like the second Flesh-Eating Ghoul. So maybe I just throw in one Wolf Rider. And we see how it goes. Or maybe I throw in the Loot Hoarder to keep the draw going. Let's put the Acolyte of Pain in. And the reason is, I have a handful of cards, Hellfire, Dread Infernal, that deal damage to me. That'll help keep the draws going. Ah! No, I'm throwing the Loot Hoarder in. Let's see what happens. Let's play this again. Let's see if this works any better. I'd really love to have another Flame Imp and Blood Imp in this deck. Or at least one of those two, but I don't have the appropriate cards yet.
Gul'dan versus Rexxar!
So Rexxar, as I said earlier, is a character this deck has had trouble with in the past. Because between his steady shot and his minions that tend to be ahead of the power curve, makes it kind of hard. Let's keep this. I'm going first, so that'll be a turn 1 Blood Imp. There's not a whole lot he can actually do about it.
I greet you.
And for the first time today, I've remembered to say hi on the first turn.
Traveler.
And he said hi back. Isn't that nice? There's not a lot that hunters can do on their first turn. Well, this is a shame. I kind of want to keep all of these cards, but I really need to play the Succubus.
Ooh, you're in trouble now.
Bye-bye, Flesh-Eating Ghoul. I'll miss you. Now, if I'm lucky, he just takes a steady shot. Animal Companion? Okay, that's a solvable problem.
As the master wishes.
Should have life tapped before.
Why do you call?
Should have life tapped before I attack. Having said that, the Succubus has already gone halfway to making her worthwhile. Now, he's got a secret. This could be a variety of things. Explosive Trap, Freezing Trap. I'm going to, in general, when the opponent has a secret, I try to attack with the least important minion first, and then
As you
see
command.
what the secret is. 2 damage to all enemies, so that will unfortunately kill the Blood Imp. That's okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my Succubus Demon Fire.
As the master.
She's going to hit for 7. I am not going to life tap. I'm in a strong position here. I have 7 damage. Alright. Now I have to life tap. and I have no cards to play. I could play the Infernal, or I could Shadow Bolt. I think I'm going to Shadow Bolt. No, I'm going to Life Tap, then I'm going to Shadow Bolt. Okay. Hunter's strength is in his creatures. You eliminate the creatures, you eliminate the Hunter.
Don't mess with Tusker.
Perfect invitation to play a Dread Infernal. That eliminates half a card and puts the Panther in striking distance once it attacks. Or he could trade both cards against the Infernal, which would be a net positive for me. Odd. Okay. If I had one more mana, I could drain life and then bring out the other Infernal. I could Mortal Coil to draw a card and then bring out the Dread Infernal. No, I don't like that, though. Or do I bring out the Mercenary? Bring out the Mercenary, Mortal Coil, and the Loot Hoarder? Let's do that. In the proper order.
You gotta be kidding me!
Almost out of time.
Alright, so that's a very big threat on the board. Let's see what he does with it.
I let the dogs out.
That bear can now trade with the Mercenary. And this is when I need to draw my Hellfire. Okay?
That didn't quite hit the mark.
So, if I attack the Houndmaster with the Loot Hoarder, I draw a card, I then drop the Infernal, Mortal Coil on him, clear board, Infernal on the table. And I think I have enough mana to throw out the Voidwalker for fun.
Hey, give me that! Oh!
Okay. Alright. Defense. I like the way this pace is feeling. I'm behind in life. Oh, that's just mean. Fine. I like the way this pace feels. That's hilarious. I could bring out the Abusive Sergeant. Oh no, wait. I trade here, I trade there. I bring out the Abusive Sergeant to buff up the Infernal and attack solidly. That's the way to do this.
As you command. Get in there and fight, maggot!
should I bring out the flame? Yes.
I'll get right on it.
Reason being, he's top decking. And a little extra damage on the board. He's actually, I think, in range to lose this turn. He may still be in range. I have to think about this. Alright, so let's see here. 7 damage. Plus I could do a Hellfire for another 3, that's 10. And then Soulfire for 14. That'll work.
Well.
I think that deck works a lot better. More, experimentation is needed, of course. 10 gold shy of opening a pack. Well, I think that's good for tonight, though. I'm very pleased with how that all turned out. I hope the video was informative and helped, maybe helped you in sort of going through an analytical thought process to improve your decks as well. So, with that, thank you very much. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow my blog at iracademy.wordpress.com. See you next time.